There are all sorts of Kel'Thuzads you can encounter as raid bosses in World of Warcraft, but this particular one currently resides in the Sanctum of Domination, and in this video I'm helping you not wipe your group on it. This is a simple guide well suited for LFR and Normal Difficulty, so if you're looking for additional challenges, I suggest you dig out some more info on it. This boss has a bunch of abilities, and you don't need to remember all of them, as there's a cool way for you to have them in front of you during combat, but I'll get to that later. My name is Ivona from momsden.com, and if you're here for the first time, subbing now is a good idea. I do simple guides for classes, raids, and collectibles you'll enjoy if you like getting some easy in-game wins, and I live stream on this channel quite a lot, so feel free to drop by and say hello. Kel'Thuzad is the second to last boss of the raid, and for everyone who's not a Necrolord, it may even come as a surprise, but that's the story for another day. The point is that he's here, he's just overall a lot to handle, and that includes 3 stages where the last one is a big DPS check, so don't AFK and give it your all. In phase 1, your main task is to remain loosely spread and make sure to kill any adds that spawn. And not just adds, as even the players who died will be revived when the boss casts Dark Evocation, along with the Frostbound devoted adds that should be killed as soon as humanly possible. Some players will also be marked with Oblivion's Echo, which is a silencing debuff that spawns a Frostbound devoted add upon expiration, leaving a silenced area on the floor as well. The devoted chase random players around, and once they catch them, they deal a lot of damage to them and to anyone within 5 yards. You should be targeting those adds and killing them off as soon as possible, and if you don't do it fast enough, you can CC them and make sure they don't catch you or any of your group members. The amount of players targeted with Oblivion's Echo will be increasing as you progress through the stages, so be aware of that. There's a nasty tank mechanic called Soul Fracture, hitting the current target, knocking them back and shattering their soul into 3 soul shards. These shards cast Piercing Wail, which deals a ton of raid damage, but as soon as you kill the shard, the tank can pick up their soul and the debuff called Soul Exhaustion is removed. That's a good thing, as there's a 1-minute deadline for the tank to put their soul back together, and they just die if they don't do it. The Soul Exhaustion also causes you to receive 500% increased damage, and there's no scenario in which that's a good thing. When it comes to the Piercing Wail cast, luckily that can be interrupted, and if you've got the Oblivion's Echo debuff by any chance, you can also place it where the shard is and silence it for good, which is super handy. Another ability is the Glacial Wrath that targets random players and causes them to spawn a glacial spike near them once the debuff expires. Those spikes can't be relocated and they kind of spontaneously die on their own. However, when they do, they deal a bunch of raid-wide damage and apply a 10-second dot, so the healer should be wary of the spikes and be prepared to top up the raid when needed. As you progress through phases 1, which do repeat in this combat, the number of spikes will increase. The general recommendation for the first 2 phase 1s is to stack the spikes and kill them rather evenly with a smart use of healing cooldowns. In the third phase 1, have only 1 spike positioned at the very edge of the raid and forget about it, while both stacking and killing the rest of them. Frost Blast is another thing to be mindful about, as random players will be marked with it, causing the people nearby to get rooted and deeply hurt. You can avoid the individual damage by stacking in the swirly and save the unfortunate soul, unless that same soul has an immunity they can use, in which case they'll be just fine. The root can be dispelled, so save this for this particular nuisance if you've got one. Finally, the last thing about phase 1 is Howling Blizzard, which happens when Kel'Thuzad is out of mana. You know it's happening when you see the room getting filled with ice, which deals damage, but there are safe zones you should make sure you're standing in when Blizzard is up. At the end of phase 1, Kel'Thuzad seemingly dies and phase 2 begins. In this stage, your raid group needs to choose who will remain in the normal realm and handle the adds, or who will enter the phylactery through the portal to kill the remnant of Kel'Thuzad. You'll enter the portal by using the special action button when you're near the boss, and I'll go over what you can expect in both places. It's a good idea to send your strong DPS to the phylactery, along with a couple of healers, so they can deal with him quickly, and tanks don't really have any business being down there anyway. Prefer sending melee to the phylactery, as there's going to be a lot of moving while killing the remnant, and most range classes are not very good at that. When it comes to the normal realm, your main task is to fight the adds, and there's 2 types of them. The first ones are unstoppable abominations. They hit for a lot of damage and occasionally cast Demolish, which hurts a lot, so try to stay out of the way when you see it happening. The other ads are Soul Reavers, whose Banshee's cry need to be interrupted at all times. And in general, these ads should be killed off very quickly as their damage stacks and quickly piles up. As per the phylactery, you need to deal 40% of damage in less than 45 seconds to the NPC, so don't go down there if you're a slacker, as you're all gonna die. While you're there, you'll receive a stacking debuff called Necrotic Miasma, which is why you need your healers with you and you need to get out of there quickly. There's some stuff to avoid, like Shadow Fissures, Freezing Blast, and Glacial Winds. The point of all of them, and all that you need to know, is you'll see a lot of stuff on the ground and some frontals pointed at you, so just move out of everything you see. Don't get hit, kill the remnant, and all will be well. Finally, we get to phase 3, where you'll be dealing with mechanics from the first 2 phases combined. This is a DPS check, as the room will be filled with ice from deep freeze, and that will just kill you if you don't end the fight. All the ads from the previous stages will continue to be spawned. Sinister Miasma will also be a thing here. As an additional healer's reason for headache, you'll have to stack for Frost Blast like in the previous stages, and additionally tanks will suffer from Ice Shard, which is just a bunch of damage taken and won't feel too good. Once you're past all of that, the boss goes down and you finish the fight. And that's it when it comes to beating this particular Kel'Thuzad. If you feel like you're forgetting these mechanics a lot, as there is a bunch of them, there's an easy way to help yourself, as you can download these and other Sanctum cheat sheets if you're a channel member here on YouTube or on Patreon. You can keep them open on your second screen or device and be reminded of what you need to do during combat, so they're pretty useful. Thanks to everyone supporting the content, as they're the reason why you'll be getting the final Sanctum guide soon. Good luck and bye bye.